Hello everyone. I know it's been a minute, my apologies. I have been working so much overtime for weeks on end, and don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I appreciate the extra money having just bought a house, but it leaves me pretty tired. Not that my job is by any stretch of the imagination strenuous in terms of being physical. I sit all day on a computer, but they're long days, and I just don't seem to have any energy. Maybe it's being nearly 62. I don't know, but it's also there's been a lot of stress that's going along with it. So my apologies. I appreciate you hanging out with me. It is Sunday, it doesn't tell me. I think it's September 27th, 8th, one of those. And for those that don't know, I live coastal North Carolina, and at the moment we have, I believe it's 2 storms out in the Atlantic. There's Umberto, which turned into a hurricane, and I believe there's another one, and I'm not sure if it's turned into a hurricane yet. It is really gray, gloomy, and we've had rain, and right now there's no rain, but it'll be back. And one of them is predicted to possibly hit South Carolina straight on. So, we hope not. I have been in many hurricanes in my life, and they're nothing to take lightly for sure. But at least I've got a break in the rain, and I can get out. I have something I have to go do. So I thought I'd just have a little chit chat, say hello, and apologize. I always have the best of intentions to get on here on the weekend, and then I think, I don't have anything interesting to say. What am I going to talk about? But I can tell you there's been a lot whirling around in my head, and one, the stress of work. As excited as I am and grateful that I get to work from home, for those of you considering it, there seems to be some added stress to that, okay? And I think, at least in the case of where I work, they feel like, okay, you're working from home, we can just pile more on you and not pay you more, okay? That's not sitting real well with me, to be honest with you, but I gotta work, so it is what it is. And like I said, my job's not particularly, it's not physically difficult. It is a bit demanding. People have been fired, people quit because they're overwhelmed, and I'm trying not to be one of those people for either of those things. I'm a hard worker, I do my work, but when they keep raising the bar and piling the work on at the same time, it makes you think, can I be 65 and go ahead and retire? But sadly, I'm not there yet. Not that I actually want to be older in a hurry, but, I guess I'm just tired. When you work, as I'm sure people that watch this know, when you work 40 plus years, whether it's at the same job or you have 20 different jobs, whatever, you get to a point where I'd really like to not do that anymore. I'd rather just go do something I want to do, and where people appreciate me. And even if you have to keep working, you don't want it to be the center of your universe, right? It complements your universe. You need a job. If you still have to work, and a lot of us will have to do that when we start Social Security, because it's not enough to live on, as we know, not for most of us. It should complement your life, not rule your life. So I'm at that point now. So technically, I'm 61. I'll be 62 in January. And I could technically draw Social Security. But we know that when you draw it early, you take a considerable cut. Now, do I want to wait until I'm 67 or, God forbid, 70? Should I still be here? No, I don't. I believe I am shooting for 65, and it is really gray. It is not very good looking right now. I'm shooting for 65. Will I wait that long? Yet to be determined. But that's what I'm working on. But at least I know in my back pocket, it's there if I have to. It will cover my mortgage, you know? Technically, I shouldn't end up homeless. But I'm going to try to be a little more positive than that. And another thing that, so I'm struggling with the job, which is a shame because I actually like it. People are wonderful. I don't make a lot of money, but I make enough to pay my bills and to get me to 65, right? But there is a considerable amount of stress that goes along with it, and so I'm whirling that around in my head. How do I not let that get to me? And then two, my spiritual life. I'm struggling a little bit with my spiritual life, and I guess that's probably a whole other video. But I'm working on that, and we'll see what I do and all of that. But that's a couple of the things that's going on with me, and I'm just trying to focus on doing better than getting by, planning for the future, having a more interactive, shall we say, relationship with God, and weighing my options about where to take my life at this age. It's a lot whirling around in this gray head. So I look forward to some things. I look forward to the process of preparing to retire. Not that I'm ever a person that's actually just going to sit there and do nothing, but getting to the point where I can do what I want to do. And if that will mean working as well, but differently. And the spiritual journey that I'm on, or have begun, or continues. I don't know how you look at it. We're always moving forward in things in life, right? So that's what's going on with me. That's where my thoughts are. And if you can relate in any way, I'd appreciate your comments. I'd appreciate you dropping me either encouragement, advice about 62 versus 65 Social Security. I guess my biggest fear is, like many of you, if I am lucky enough to get older, will I have enough? At the moment, I don't see me having enough. Will the difference between what you get at 62, what you get at 65, how big a difference is that going to make when I'm older? Is it worth it? Those extra 3 years to work for someone else? Or should I get myself in a position to supplement my Social Security by working for myself? I have some things I can do to do that. But I'd like to know what your experiences are, what your thoughts are, and I got a host of house couldn't quit right now if I wanted to, and I'm really not ready to, but I have a few things that I want to do in the yard, a few things I want to do in the kitchen, and the rest of the house is pretty much okay. Paint, no big deal, but there are some things to do in the yard. It wasn't well taken care of, and so a few gardening projects, outbuilding, that kind of thing, and kitchen from the 1980s. The same cabinets, let's put it that way. They are the original cabinets, solid wood from the 1980s. Countertops have been replaced, but sink has been replaced. The dishwasher works great. I'm shocked. But at any rate, I have some house projects I want to do, and that takes money, so I have to think about that too. Bills, got to think about that. But there's a lot whirling around in my head, and I would appreciate your thoughts on it. So thank you for hanging out with me today. Getting pretty close to my destination, and hoping it doesn't rain on my head, but as Mom used to say, you won't melt. So I'm not gonna melt if it does, and it wouldn't be the first time it rained on my head, and I'm still here. So God bless you. I appreciate you, and we'll talk soon.